So Yonsu is going to be the map here. A best of 1. It is a round of 16 game coming out. A nice little bit of ZvT. And my goodness, this is a very, very exciting game. I'm just sad that it's a best of 1. Spawning in the top right hand position. The Zerg player representing Core EU. He's British, or Scottish to be technically correct, but he's certainly from the UK. Mr. JonnyREcco. And his opponent, the Red Terran, representing My Insanity. Going on a bit of a rampage throughout Europe over the last couple of months since moving to the My Insanity team house. Doing very well for himself. A former GSL champion, JJakji. JJakji, of course, is doing miraculously well throughout various things. He's literally just kind of cleaning up any events that he really enters. A couple of upsets here and there, but for the most part, a very, very solid player. Excited to see exactly what JonnyREcco is going to be doing to try and combat this formidable foe, and also how JJakji is going to play up against Reco. Initially, it looks that it's going to be some kind of Reaper play, with that refinery coming down after the barracks has been started. Meanwhile, Reco opening very standard at the moment with that 15 hatch. Probably going to go into a pull straight after. There are some builds where you can grab a gas before the pull just to get the earlier speed, but that delays your queens, so not every Zerg does. We'll wait to see what JonnyREcco do, but it's most likely just going to be the pull now. Wow, actually it's not. Going up to 17 gas, 16 pull. A very greedy build from Mr. Reco right now. Meanwhile, over JJakji's base, down comes the Reaper, just as expected. This is going to be trying to harass. Of course, getting down speed earlier. Very good up against a Reaper play. Of course, Yonsu is a great map for Reapers because of all of this cliff area. And also this cute little bit of cliff here that if you kind of angle it right, maybe looks sort of like a 3-year-old's drawing of a heart. If I could spin it all the way around. Can I actually get it this side? No, you can't really see it. Do you see what I'm saying? Heart, maybe. I don't know. But regardless, this is some very, very fun times for Reapers because they can go leaping and bounding over all these cliffs. Command center coming down for JJakji, so he's expanding off the back of this. A perfectly normal build order from him at the moment. And I think the important thing for JJakji to do is not underestimate Reco, because JonnyREcco can take games off the very best, and JJakji, if he does go for something too crazy early on, will actually, in a weird way, be playing into Reco's comfort zone, because being a macro-orientated player, Reco will do everything in his power to get to the late game, and so he's used to dealing with early aggression. Spore Caller coming down there just to try and keep that drone alive for the moment. The Reaper still darting around and getting very low, actually 5 HP remaining. Comes back in for a bit more fun. Should start regenerating shortly. The Queen's just popping now, and that is going to help dealing with this one Reaper. The second Reaper on its way through. Quite a few Lings are getting taken down. 3-4 kills now racked up on that Reaper. So he's doing an okay job. The Queen's going to be looking to try and take it out. Of course, combat drugs are starting to kick in now. The Reapers, though, backing away. Meanwhile, back at home, the Reactor and Factory coming out, as well as an early 3rd CC. So these Reapers, adding in with 4 Hellions, are quite a formidable force in trying to deal with anything really a Zerg player has aside from roaches. And it also is a very mobile force, and that will force JonnyREcco to stay back, stay defensive, whereas this 3rd CC is really going to be what JonnyREcco wants to try and deny if it floats down early. He wants to try and punish this greediness coming down from the Terran player, but he can't do so if he's sitting at home defending. The Reapers, though, have to stay alive. That's something that we're seeing JJakji really focus on. He's trying to harass as much as possible while still keeping these up. A drone is going to go down. A second one falls too. That's some nice pickups there from the Terran player. A couple of Lings up on the high ground, a couple of Lings down on the low ground, just trying to pick away at anything. One Reaper dies, second Reaper dies, and that was a big play by JJakji trying to take out those 2 drones. Succeeding, but losing 2 Reapers for it. Not an equal trade. And with this, JonnyREcco should actually keep himself relatively secure. The Hellions alone aren't terrifying. In come now a lot of Speedlings across the map. There's 2 Hellions out, 2 more just popping. They'll help. But with no bunker, no Marines, they've got to be fairly careful. Good positioning though. One of those Hellions may very well go down here. It's trying to get away. 10 HP, will survive, but a full scout down comes out from the Zerg player. He sees the third CC, and that really is the big gain that he was looking for. Getting that third CC scouted should result in JonnyREcco just playing the way he wants to up against this. I wouldn't be surprised to see him quickly take some additional gases fairly soon, and just try and roll with it, because he can't really break through here, so he's just got to try and get to the late game a little bit sooner. He also knows about the Hellions, that's good. The only thing he didn't say is these two engineering bases that have just started now, but that isn't a huge problem to REcco, because REcco isn't behind in upgrades. He's going to start his double evolution chambers now, and should roughly stay at the same kind of tact. So these queens coming forward, trying to spread some creep across Yonsu. Good map for creep spread. It's quite wide, but if you've got the 2 queens dedicated to it, it'll work well. 8 Hellions, quite difficult to force back with only Lings. Good number of queens there though as well, certainly making short work of quite a few of them. They're also blocking off here, which is helpful. The queen will go down on the back though, nice pick off, but half of the Hellions have, nearly half of the Hellions have already been killed. Only 5 there, 2 more on red health. Not really the greatest harassing force. In total, 2 workers killed up against 1, so very close in terms of this game for the moment. The Rotron coming down for JonnyREcco, as well as the 1-1 upgrades. That's the melee upgrades, not the missile attack, which may seem a bit odd with the Rotron coming down, but that Rotron predominantly is only there to try and stop any further harassment from these Hellions and just hold off any little pushes that may be coming, which are Hellion heavy. The game plan is ultimately going to be Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk, as 9 out of 10 Zerg versus Terran strategies revolve around. Starport though, coming out from JJakji, so he's going to start medevac production shortly. He does already have the reactor being powered down by the factory there. Third base up and running now. And this third base is quite critical for JJakji to hold, because with muling, it means that he isn't going to mine out from his natural main quite as fast, but it also gives him a solid boost to his income, specifically his mineral income, to pump out so many more Marines and just get a very sizable force together. Both players' 1-1s are fairly close, about 10 seconds ahead for JJakji, but not enough to be terrifying at this stage. Really, we'll most likely see an advantage come through with the 3-3 upgrades. That's generally where Zerg players start to fall behind a little, mainly due to the hive requirement to get 3-3 down, whereas the armory required for 2-2 of a Terran player, which JJakji has synced up near perfectly, allows the 3-3 to come down as well. So there shouldn't be any bumps there, whereas for a Zerg player, 3-3 can be a little bit bumpy. Few Banelings morphing in here, 6 of them, and Baneling speed coming down too. And with all of that, this push coming across the map shouldn't have too much to really spare. Needs to get some good connections to those Banelings though. The Hellions backing away. The Banelings start to connect, but having to retreat as there's a lot of Marines down at the moment. The Hellions have all but been killed. There's none remaining on the field. These Banelings still could do with some good hits. The double medevac pickup, one of those medevacs critically low on health, needs to be exceptionally careful. Just backing away, doesn't want to risk going in. If that went down, that'd be a lot of Marines dying within. And a nice defense coming down from REcco at the moment, who's down a little in the drone count, but should be fairly happy to risk a couple more drones shortly once he gets up at 4th base. And that's really what he's aiming for down here, taking down those rocks, the drone moving up. 4th comes down and we should see REcco head up to the 70+ mark. JJakji already up to 75 workers, which should mean that he's... Actually, where are some of his workers? Okay, he's building his some, so that's fine. But mules coming down, incomes are going to be looking very favourable for JJakji, especially on the mineral front. Gas front, pretty level. The 4th base should put JonnyREcco slightly ahead there. But more importantly, REcco is now getting out some of his Mutalisks. And the reason this is so important is because this shuts down drop play. REcco already sitting with some nice map vision, with a handful of Lings and Overlords scattered about the map, just keeping an eye on anything that may be coming through. Meanwhile, JJakji adding in that advanced drilling as well as allowing his Widow Mines to burrow a little bit quicker. Even though that for the moment he's only got 4 of them on the field, he will be investing more heavily in those later just to try and deal with the Banelings. In now come a couple of Lings though, and the Banelings getting some alright connects. Take out a good chunk of those Marines. A Baneling from the back quick pick up there from the medevac, save some units, but again, JonnyREcco able to hold this off very effectively for the time being. Marines being dropped back down. A couple more Widow Mines are there. The Banelings detonate. Not getting all of the Marines, but certainly a good chunk of them. The Mutalisks now having to back out. The reinforcing Marines will probably just be a bit too much for them. Unfortunately, they are going down with all that healing. Widow Mine hit did go off. Morlings, though, streaming in towards the third. Trying to pick apart a couple of these CVs, mining gas. Not actually getting any of them yet, just getting them all to red health. Because they're being healed up by the medevacs, they're just not dying as of yet. JonnyREcco lost a couple of his Mutalisks, is getting some more out, currently sitting only at 5 more in production now, taking him up to 10. He's got the +1 air attack through. Both players sitting at 2-2, but as I said previously, this is where Jakji can start getting a lead in those upgrades if he starts 3-3, which he is able to do with his current tech, so something that he should be aiming to do fairly soon. The 3-3 upgrades on the Marines, of course, mean that the Mutalisks don't hit as hard, but also with Stim, those Marines are devastatingly effective against Mutas, even if they aren't already. Jakji now moving up the left-hand side, pushing back some of that creep. JonnyREcco needs to get another nice round. He's running in with a couple of Lings towards the third. Meanwhile, Banelings trying to chase down the majority of this army, connect a few times. More Lings coming through, picking off reinforcements as they get here. Without the medevac support, that infantry isn't very scary, forcing some of this army back to come and defend. And between it all, really, JonnyREcco looking okay, but that could start becoming a little less comfortable as a medevac drops quite a few units up into his main base. A few Lings on their way back, but already drones are getting killed. This is forcing Rico to get over into a defensive position, nearly exposing out his third base, but he catches on that something might be up as the scan comes out. The main has been cleaned, but can this push into the third be stopped? Rico's Banelings focused down effectively by Jakji while he's pushing in towards the natural base with a handful of Speedlings. The third hatch dies. JonnyREcco realizes he's not going to be able to come back from that, and GG's out. Congratulations to Jakji there, who's going to advance on forward.